Welcome to another Take and Create project through the Kinsman Free Public Library. Today we are making Hocus Pocus spell books. Ooh, spooky. Perfect craft for Halloween. So in your kits you'll find some paint and some Mod Podge, some little critters, and a book and a Hocus Pocus template. So the first thing you're going to want to do is take your book and kind of plan out where you were going to want your template. You'll use the paint to transfer those words onto your book and your little critters. So you just kind of line those up wherever you like and kind of have a plan made out. Perfect. So once you have that in mind, you'll take a paper towel. You'll need a full sheet of a white paper towel with no designs on it, and you are going to want to wet it. So you want it just damp. So you wring it out, or if you had like a spray bottle, you could just spray it to make it a little wet. And wring it out. Perfect. Okay. Now let that dry out a little bit while we get to gluing. So remove all your templates. Set those aside. We'll put those on at the end. And you're going to want to cover your whole front cover in Mod Podge. And we're using just the little foam brushes today. And you'll just cover the whole thing, including the little critters. Wherever you want to put your critters, you'll stick those on too. And then you'll take your wet paper towel and you will cover your book. And you want to kind of keep some wrinkles in there. You don't want it to be super smooth. Wherever you want those ridges are really going to stand out, because we're going to paint the whole thing black after we're done gluing. We're even going to put a layer of Mod Podge on top of the paper towel too.
Hang over longer, or do you cut that off over that?
So once you get the cover kind of where you want it, you're also going to want to Mod Podge the inside of your covers, and we're going to wrap it around. As we went along, we found that the 2-ply paper towel was kind of hard to stick down. We were getting a lot of air bubbles. So we actually just separated out and did one single ply. And you can see there's lots of good wrinkles and definition around the critters. So if you have a 2-ply, maybe try separating it out and just using the single layer. So now we are going to do the same covering on the back. So while we're letting our Mod Podge dry, we are wetting the page edges a little bit so that when the book dries, they'll be all wrinkly and antique looking. This is definitely a messy one, so don't be afraid to use your hands and create those wrinkles in the paper towel and the Mod Podge. And then once you have it all covered the way you like it, just let it stand up to dry completely, and then we'll move on to the painted phase.
So an alternative for the kids, instead of going through this tedious process, they will get a book, some black paint, and a shimmering color, a cauldron, And what they're going to do is paint their entire book black. And then you're going to glue the cauldron on and then create a sponging effect around it with some green to make it look like it's boiling. And they'll get some fun bugs and things like that to glue on as well. So I'm going to go through the process of painting the book.
So after your book is all dry, you will just cover the whole thing in the black paint.
Okay, so my book is dry. I'm going to take a little bit of our green paint and a cotton ball. I'm going to dab it on the paper towel here, and I'm just going to make a circle where I think I'm going to put my cauldron. And you just dab it in a circle. You can fill it in if you want, or you can just do an outline. It does not have to be perfect by any means. And then I'm going to take a little bit of glue and put it in the center of the circle. And then I will find my cauldron. I'm going to glue it right over top. I'm going to take my cotton ball again and a little bit more green and dab it along the bottom of the cauldron, and maybe it looks like smoke or fire, and then just very lightly dab it a little bit above so it looks like we're cooking something in the pot. Now the fun part, if you want to make some bubbles, I'm going to take my fingertip, dip it in the paint, dab it on the paper towel, and just make dots coming up out of the cauldron. And you can put them on the cauldron like it's bubbling over if you want. And we're going to add some bugs and our lettering. Now I've placed my stencil on the book where I want it, and I'm going to take my sponge and dip it into the green, and we're just going to dab it over the lettering. Make sure you hold the paper down so it doesn't slide around. Lay the book flat on the table. So you can either use the cotton ball or you can use your sponge. I'm going to try the sponge. Just straight up and down. You're going to dab up and down all the way across the lettering, holding on to the paper so it doesn't slide away. So you don't want too much paint on your cotton ball or your brush, because what will happen, it will seep underneath the paper and the letters will run together. And then I'm going to very gently lift up the paper, peel it up from my book.
Oh,
It says
that looks
Hocus Pocus.
Neat.
And now I'm going to take my Mod Podge and glue on a few critters. I picked this centipede. And crawl along the bottom.
Some more?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm going to get this snake. He's going to be bubbling out of the cauldron. And tuck his tail underneath the cauldron just to hold him into place a little bit. Might need a little bit of hot glue if you have a hot glue gun at home to secure them a little better. A little bit of more of a tacky glue instead of an Elmer's glue. Find one more critter. Let's see, something kind of flat. use this fly here. And I'm just going to let them dry. And there you have your Hocus Pocus spell book.
Now that my book is dry, I'm going to put down the stencil where I want it and use a little bit of the metallic color. And you don't want to put too much paint on your brush, otherwise it'll bleed under the stencil. So just hold it down really securely where you want it and just dab across all of the lettering. And then very gently peel off the stencil. Cool.
Nice.
So, you can see it's a little faint, but it's supposed to be an ancient spell book, so I kind of like how it turned out, kind of rustic. And then we're also going to use a little of that metallic and go over our critters and go over some of the wrinkles and maybe the spine edges to make those kind of pop out. And I think I might even just use my finger, do a little finger painting. Okay, Hocus Pocus, look how spooky. I really like the gold and the green, the different colors that pop out and kind of different textures you get and little designs that appear once you use the paint on the black. So make it your own and happy Halloween.
Ooh.